watched 13 films this month. I've got my Letterboxd profile on my laptop down here. And I don't know, I'm excited to talk about them. I feel like they cover a wider range of like genres and like these films were released at different time periods. Like they're not all from the cinema like last week kind of thing, because a lot of the films I watch are from the cinema because that's just more accessible to me. Anyway, let's get started. So starting off the year strong, on the 1st of January I went to the cinema to watch Anyone But You, which is a new rom-com starring Sydney Sweeney and Glenn Powell, and it basically like they go on a first date or like a date, and it just ends like badly and they don't like each other, and like they just don't like each other, and then it ends up that they both have to fly out to Australia for their own friend's wedding. So basically their own friends are getting married and they have to both attend the wedding, and they like obviously have to pretend to not like hate each other because they don't want to ruin the wedding, and it's just like, I went into it thinking I was gonna hate it because I'm not really a rom-com. Like I don't mind them, but like they're all the same kind of thing. But I particularly like this one. I like the music as well in it. Oh my goodness. I need to fix this, but I don't know how to fix this. So if anyone knows how to fix that happening, let me know. I can't remember what I was saying. Oh yeah, like a lot of them are the same. Was that what I was saying? But I like this one. I like the music, yeah. I thought it was funny as well. Like it kind of had the same kind of humour as No Hard Feelings, but like it's just similar kind of vibe. I rated 4 stars out of 5. Again, unexpected. I didn't expect to like rate it so highly, but I really enjoyed it. So yeah, I would recommend it. Yeah. The second film I watched was Portrait of a Lady on Fire. Portrait de la jeune fille en feu. It's a rewatch. I have watched this once before, twice before. I can't remember. And it's a French film. It's so beautiful. It's so good. I love it. I gave it 5 stars and I liked it, like with the little heart thing. So basically it's set in, oh my goodness, what is happening? Okay, maybe I should be less dramatic when it happens, because that was a bit exaggerated. So I'll read the blurb, like the synopsis. On an isolated island in Brittany at the end of the 18th century, a female painter is obliged to paint a wedding portrait of a young woman. So basically, the painter gets hired to paint a painting of this woman who's like gonna go and like be forced to marry like this random man. And then whilst they're like she's painting the woman, like they fall in love, and it just is such a beautiful like story. And there's no music, there's no soundtrack, there's no like there's no music whatsoever, except for there's like a live singing, like there's like people in the film that like start like singing around a fire kind of thing, and then at the end there's like an orchestra performance, like that's it, there's no like background music, and I just think it's so beautiful, and the way it portrays the relationship as well is really like, it's in a positive way. It's a good representation. I could talk about that film for ages. I used to like in my French class I used to study like the difference between this film and like other films with similar relationship dynamics, because this one is portrayed in a really good way and it's directed by a female director, which is important if you're going to compare it to like Blue is the Warmest Colour, which is another LGBT French film, but it's directed by a man, which is like obviously completely fine, but it's from the male gaze. seen Little Women, which I feel like is a crime. Again, the reason I hadn't seen it is because I thought it'd be a really slow-paced, like, not a lot happens film, but it was so beautiful, and it does have a plot, like, it does have a story, and you do, like, have to, like, sit and follow it. Sorry. I gave it 4.5 stars, and I liked it. I'll read, there's a quote that my review, well, it wasn't a review, but, like, I've just quoted part of it, that, Saoirse Ronan's character, Joe March, says, because I thought it was cute. Well, important. So, women, they have minds, and they have souls, as well as just hearts, and they've got ambition, and they've got talent, as well as just beauty. And I'm so sick of people saying that love is just all a woman is fit for. I'm so sick of it, but I'm so lonely. And I was just like, ugh, like, I don't know. I'd recommend it as well. It's a cute, like, cozy film kind of thing. Then, I'm so sorry about this microphone, it's really going to annoy me. I don't know if it's the microphone or the cable, probably the cable. Anyway, the next film I watched was in the cinema, and it was Poor Things. Yorgos Lanthimos directed this film, and I had low expectations because I've never seen one of his films before. And the trailer looked strange, but then, like, after Saltburn, I thought nothing could be strange. I was wrong. This film was insane. Like, I loved it so much. I gave it 4.5 stars out of 5. I loved that, like, the way it was shot. Like, I loved all the different camera angles, and I watched a YouTube video from the cinematographer. The guy, he, like, chooses the camera lenses. I watched a video about him talking about this film, because he was saying, like, it was difficult to, like, find certain lenses, and, like, hard to choose when to use a certain angle, and it was really interesting, and I'm not normally, like, interested in that kind of thing, but, yeah, it uses, like, the fisheye lens. It has, like, scenes where there's, like, a vignette, so it's, like, you can only see, like, this, and then, like, the rest of it is, like, faded to, like, black. The colour scheme, like, a part of the film is in black and white, and the rest of it has got, like, this oversaturated, like, very unrealistic look, but it looks good. Like, it doesn't, like, you don't look at it and go, oh, that's so fake, like, well, no, you do, but, like, because it doesn't look real, but, like, it doesn't look, like, bad, like, CGI kind of thing. It just fits, and it uses, like, the real world, so it talks about London, it talks about Paris, it talks about Lisbon, but when it shows you the scenes of Lisbon, it's like distorted reality, and it's not like what Lisbon actually looks like, because, like, the sky will be, like, purple and yellow. Like, I would recommend it so much. Like, I loved it, and I loved Emma Stone's performance. I thought she was really good. I don't think I can ever look at Mark Ruffalo the same, and that's what I'm gonna say. Okay, next I watched Dune. This was the 2021 version, because there's going to be Dune Part 2 coming out this year, and I hadn't seen the first one. I'm not going to read the book because it's so long. I didn't really know what it was about. I gave it 3.5 stars because it was more interesting than I thought. Because it's a part 1, it kind of is like a story building, character introduction kind of film. Like, the main plot doesn't happen yet, because it's part 1, not like the part 2 or part 3. But I really liked it. I thought it was cool. I'd recommend watching it, especially as the new one's gonna come out soon. I think it comes out in, like, March or May or something. I can't remember. It is quite long, and that is why I had lower expectations, because I thought, oh, it's, like, gonna be really boring and really long. But it didn't feel like either of those things. I'll see how long it is. It's 2 hours and 48 minutes. But that's fine. I enjoyed it. And I would recommend. I think I watched it on Netflix, because they released it on Netflix, if anyone was interested. Okay, I feel like we're halfway through, which is not good. We need to speed up. The next film I watched was The Talented Mr. Ripley. Again, trying to watch, like, more, like, like the original. So I'm glad that I have. I give it 3.5 stars out of 5. I can't remember if I've already said that. I loved it. It kind of took an unexpected turn. Like, I really didn't know what to expect from the film, but it made me carry on watching it, and I didn't like get bored or anything. And I think it's good. It was like beautiful but very tense, and it just kind of builds, like, I don't know, you just need to watch it, I guess. That's gonna be my advice for like every film. Okay, the next film I watched was Haine, which is another rewatch, and it's another French film. I feel like I need to branch out with French films, because otherwise I will watch the same ones over and over again. I love Haine. It came out in 1995, and it was directed by Matthew Kassovitz. That was really cringy, I don't know why I did that. And I gave it 4.5 stars out of 5, and I gave it a little heart. It's, the way I can describe it is in French, because I like studied it in my French class. It's intemporel, timeless, which in some ways I think is good. Like, the way that, like, the film itself, the way the film was shot, is never gonna get old. Like, the film was in 1995, yet it's in black and white. To kind of make it last forever, like, the film, I could watch it in 20 years time and I could still, like, it's not gonna get outdated the way it was filmed, kind of thing. However, the message behind it hasn't changed, and it's about police brutality and a lot of like riots in France mainly between the police and like youth subcultures and people in the outer, I've completely forgotten the word, like districts, arrondissement of Paris. And it has a really important message, and like Kassovitz released it to kind of show the world, like, this is a problem that needs to be stopped, like, to end like the discrimination against the people in les banlieues. It's really rusty French. But then, like, it still happens today, and you still see on the news about like riots in France. Especially like in relation to like police brutality, and like all over the world, I guess. So it's timeless in that sense because it hasn't changed. But I think this film is still really important, and I'm so glad that I watched it in my French class, because I don't think I would have necessarily looked at it and gone, oh, I'm gonna watch that. And I'm so glad that I studied it, because I got to learn about it in so much more detail, and I got to learn about like more of French culture, but also just like general film techniques and the way that things were shot, and like about the sounds that were used and the lenses and like the angles and like the characters that were chosen and why they were chosen to represent different parts of French society. I would recommend that film. It used to be on YouTube, but it's not anymore, so I think I had to pay for it, but that's okay. Okay, moving on. The next film I watched was again in the cinemas, and I watched the Mean Girls musical, the new one. I had seen so much hate on this on TikTok and social media, and everybody was saying that it was like awful and so bad, and I was like, oh my goodness, this film's gonna be rubbish. And I gave it 2.5 stars out of 5, which sounds bad. It was cringy. It was a musical. They did burst out into song randomly, and I feel like the songs could have been, like, some of the songs are like fine, and they, like, I don't mind, like, whatever, but some of them were like, I had my head in my hands at one point. I was like, no, like, I was like not necessarily cringing, but I was like, okay, yeah, I guess I was cringing. lipstick I'm using, like they made it sound like that was what was gonna happen in the film. So I was anticipating this like really awful product placement, and then when it came on, I didn't even really notice it. Like, I don't know, I feel like people overreacted about it, and same with like some of the, I don't know, I just feel like people overreacted. I think it's a perfectly fine film. I can't remember if I gave it a review. No. But I'm glad that I've watched it, because I can say that I've watched it. I just wouldn't rewatch it, kind of thing. I'd probably rewatch the original or watch the original. I can't remember if I've seen the original. But like it's just like a cringy film about high school. So I don't know, like I don't know what people were expecting, because it wasn't gonna be like a Oscar-winning film. Like I don't think. Anyway, moving on. That was the lowest rated film of the whole month. So, and I still enjoyed it. So like, this was a good month for films. The next film I watched again was in cinemas. I watched The End We Start From with Jodie Comer. Again, I didn't think I was gonna like this. I thought it'd be again like quite a slow, like not a lot happens kind of film. I love this film. It was, I don't know, it made me feel a lot of things. I gave it 4 stars out of 5. It basically follows flooding in the UK, specifically in London, and Jodie Comer's character and her partner have just had a newborn baby, and they've had to leave their house. Not leave the baby, I made that sound like they had left the baby. No, they had a newborn baby, and they had to leave their town, their city, because of the floods, and they had to like separate, and the whole of the country was going crazy. Like there was so much violence just to get to like a food bank or like something of a similar kind of thing, and people got separated, and it follows the story of Jodie Comer and her newborn baby, and like the people that she meets along the way. Benedict Cumberbatch was in it, like he made an appearance in it. I didn't expect that, and it kind of like, yes, it's about like the possibilities of the future. Like it was one of those films where like it was creepy, because that technically could happen. Like there could be flooding because of like climate change and things like that. But then on the other hand, it was about like motherhood, because this was a first time mum with a newborn baby walking miles every day to try and find a home, or like to get let into a shelter, or like the way she interacts with people, like people treat her differently because she's a mum, or like things like that. And I think it was a beautiful film, and I don't know where else you could watch it, because I think it was only in the cinema for a couple of days. But if you ever get the chance to watch it, I would highly recommend it. Sorry. Okay, the last 3 films. The next film I watched was Heat. I've never watched Heat, and multiple people had told me to watch it, and because people told me to watch it like consistently, like I didn't want to watch it. It's just like a thing. Like I'd rather in my own time be like, oh, I'm gonna watch this. But maybe that's just a me thing. Like maybe I'm just a bit weird. I gave it 4.5 stars out of 5, which was very unexpected. It is quite a long film. I think it's 2 hours and 50 minutes long, but I really liked it. The synopsis is quite long. Okay, a Los Angeles crime saga. Obsessive master thief Neil McCauley leads a top-notch crew on various daring heists throughout Los Angeles, while determined detective Vincent Hanna pursues him without rest. Each man recognizes and respects the ability and the dedication of the other, even though they are aware of their cat and mouse game may end in violence. It's like GTA, but in a film with like good actors. Like it was a really well done film. I really enjoyed watching it, and like the end, like I was literally like, there was so much like suspense. I was like, oh my god, like I don't actually know what's gonna happen here. I would really recommend it. I think it's also on Netflix now. Not that I'm promoting streaming platforms Andrew Scott and Paul Mescal. I don't know. And this was weird. Like, I have given it 4 out of 5 stars. I'll read the synopsis. So, okay. All of us hurt, all of us hope, all of us love. One night, screenwriter Adam, in his near-empty tower block in contemporary London, has a chance encounter with his mysterious neighbour Harry that punctures the rhythm of his everyday life. As Adam and Harry get closer, Adam is pulled back to his childhood home, where he discovers that his long-dead parents are both living and look the same age as they did the day they died over 30 years ago. So basically, that is what happens. It's just it's a sad film. The soundtrack is really good, but it's a sad film. But I would really recommend it. It was really good. I feel like my explanations are not that great today. Anyway, the last film I watched in January was another Yorgos Lanthimos film. I watched The Favourite. I wanted to watch this when it came out in 2018, but I never got around to it, and then they released it on Netflix like last week, and I was like, perfect. So this is Olivia Colman, Emma Stone, and Rachel Weisz. And it follows Queen Anne. I will read the synopsis. England, early 18th century. The close relationship between Queen Anne and Sarah Churchill is threatened by the arrival of Sarah's cousin, Abigail Hill, resulting in a bitter rivalry between the two cousins to be the Queen's favourite. So, Queen Anne is... I had to Google a bit more about her because I was interested. I think she had like 17 like miscarriages or 17 births or something, and it was like a ridiculous, like an insane amount. And she also suffered like with ill health like most of her life, so a lot of the time she couldn't do the like duties of the Queen. So Sarah Churchill, played by Rachel Weisz, I don't know. She does a lot of them for her, and they like create like quite a close relationship. So yeah, and then Emma Stone's character Abigail comes and like asks for a job, and she works her way up from being like a maid and like cleaning stuff to like being the one that helps out with the Queen, and like she'll play I can't remember what the game was. They'll just like play games, they'll talk to each other, like things like that, and then there's like a rivalry about who's the Queen's favourite. I did just explain the synopsis again in my own words, but that's fine. I thought it was really good, and again, it's obviously because it's another one of Yorgos Lanthimos' films. It's like you can tell it's his film, like it's similar in the way that it's filmed and like the way that it's broken up into different parts. But it was so good. I really enjoyed it. I think I preferred Poor Things, but I think that's just because the storyline was so like absurd. Like it's not based on a real person kind of thing. Whereas like The Favourite, obviously they had to like follow at least some like realistic